Welcome to the AIMS Nominations 2026. Greetings to viewers joining us from across Ireland and around the world via streaming platforms. I'd like to acknowledge the show adjudicators, Therese Marr in Gilbert and Pat McElwain in Sullivan. Between them, they reviewed over 100 productions, faced tight schedules and extensive travel, tasked with selecting exceptional performances for AIMS nominations. Our deepest gratitude for their dedication and professionalism. To our programme adjudicators, Brian Gunning and Brandon Cogley, thank you so much. To our liaison officers, Laura Ryan in Gilbert and Clodagh Farrell in Sullivan, who managed the administration and communication between both societies and adjudicators and ensured that the process ran smoothly and efficiently. To our awards administrator, Fiona Sheeran, we're grateful to our sponsors. This year's sponsors are DBL Lighting and Sound, the Really Useful Group, Theatrical Rights Worldwide, GR8 Events, and our school sponsors, Educate.ie. We acknowledge the devastating loss suffered by our sponsor, Nomac Productions, due to a fire at their premises where their costumes and equipment were destroyed. Sending lots of love and hugs to Bloned and her team. I am delighted to announce our Mary Kelly nominees for 2026. Angela Cunningham, nominated by St Agnes's Choral Society, Belfast. Paddy and Marie Hayes, nominated by Oyster Lane Theatre Group, Wexford. Maureen Heffernan, nominated by Harold's Cross Tala Musical Society, Dublin. Edna Howard, nominated by Newcastle Glees Musical Society. Adrian McMyler, nominated by Inish Theatre Group, Donegal. James and Nina O'Keefe, nominated by Baldoyle Musical Society. Now I will hand over to Fiona.
Thank you very much, Jerry, and congratulations to everybody who has been nominated for the Mary Kelly Award. Let's start with the technical awards. Nominations for Best Programme in the Sullivan category. Ballywillan Drama Group for Guys and Dolls. Bellevue Academy Clonmel for Hadestown Teen Edition. Nina Choral Society for Evita. Tullivin Musical Society for Maiden Dagenham. And Waterford Musical Society for Calamity Jane. Moving on to the Gilbert section, Best Programme. And the nominees are North Wexford Musical Theatre for Into the Woods. St Mary's Choral Society Clonmel, The Clockmaker's Daughter. Tipperary Musical Society for Sweeney Todd. Tralee Musical Society for The Prince of Egypt. And Tullamore Musical Society for We Will Rock You. Next up is House Management. Our nominees in the Sullivan category are Ballywillan Drama Group for Guys and Dolls. Nina Choral Society, Evita. Shannon Musical Society, Come From Away. Tullivin Musical Society, Maiden Dagenham. And Waterford Musical Society for Calamity Jane. And in the Gilbert section, for Best House Management, Ahada Centre Theatre Group for Legally Blonde. Carnew Musical Society for Hello Dolly. Ennis Musical Society for Beauty and the Beast. Mitchelstown Musical Society, We Will Rock You. And St Mel's Musical Society, Longford for The Wizard of Oz. And moving on to our visuals, in the Sullivan category, our nominees are Ballinasloe Musical Society for Shrek the Musical. Castlebar Musical and Dramatic Society for We Will Rock You. Claire Morris Musical Society Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Midas in Limerick, the SpongeBob musical. And Newry Musical Society for Shrek the Musical. And in Gilbert, our visual nominees are Galway Musical Society for Pippin, Malahide Musical and Dramatic Society, The Witches of Eastwick, Newcastle Glee's Musical Society, The Wizard of Oz, the Sicilian Musical Society Limerick, We Will Rock You, and Tralee Musical Society, The Prince of Egypt. Now our best technical nominees. In the Sullivan category, our nominees are Bellevue Academy Clonmel, Hadestown Teen Edition, Castlebar Musical and Dramatic Society, We Will Rock You, Newbridge Musical Theatre, West Side Story, Shannon Musical Society, Come From Away, and Song Dundalk, We Will Rock You. And now going on to technical in Gilbert, and our nominees are Entr'Act Dublin, Jesus Christ Superstar, Muse Productions in Shannon for Rent, the Sicilian Musical Society in Limerick, We Will Rock You, Tipperary Musical Society for Sweeney Todd, and Wexford Light Opera Society for Jesus Christ Superstar. And now I'll hand you over to our lovely chairperson of the Northern Region, Gareth.
Thanks, Fiona, and it's great to be here to celebrate all our achievements from throughout the year. Now we move on to Best Stage Management in the Sullivan section. Avonmore Musical Society for The Clockmaker's Daughter, Stage Manager Barry Ryan. Ballywillan Drama Group, Guys and Dolls, Stage Manager David Ray. Newbridge Musical Theatre, West Side Story, Stage Manager Sarah Hall. Ross Cray Musical Society, West Side Story, Stage Manager Ian Hanrahan. And Tullyvin Musical Society, Maiden Dagenham, Stage Manager Stephen Hannigan. We now move on to the Gilbert nominees for Best Stage Management. Nine Arch Musical Society, Clare Galway, Jesus Christ Superstar. Stage Managers Jacqueline Cronin and Chantel Kenny. Carnew Musical Society for Hello Dolly. Stage Manager Raymond Brennan. Clara Musical Society for Disney's Frozen. Stage Manager Wayne Handy. Oyster Lane Theatre Group Wexford, The Wizard of Oz. Stage Manager Colin Murphy. And St Mary's Choral Society Clonmel, The Clockmaker's Daughter. Stage Manager Jimmy Trehay. And now for Best Youth Performance in an Adult Show in the Sullivan section. Michael Farrell as Mike TV in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Clare Morris Musical Society. Abby Flatley as Violet Beauregard in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Clare Morris Musical Society. And Tess Kieran's as Annie in Annie, Song Dundalk. And now the Best Youth Performance in an Adult Show in the Gilbert section. Grace Kelly as Young Elsa in Disney's Frozen, Clara Musical Society. Rhea Mae Murphy as Young Anna in Disney's Frozen, Ballinrobe Musical Society. And Sean O'Callaghan as narrator in Into the Woods, Kilcock Musical and Dramatic Society. We move on to Best Comedian in the Sullivan section. Patrick Byrne as Lord Farquaad in Shrek the Musical, Ballinasloe Musical Society. Sean Cronin as Franz in Rock of Ages, Dunboyne Musical Society. Andrew Doherty as Buddy in We Will Rock You, Naas Musical Society. Andrew Lane as Bill in Me and My Girl, New Ross Musical Society. And Alan McClarty as Nathan in Guys and Dolls, Ballywillan Drama Group. We move on to the Gilbert section, and the Best Comedian nominees are Sean Cronin as Joe in Fame, Leak Slip Musical and Variety Group. David Keown as George in Kinky Boots, the musical, Londonderry Musical Society. Ethan McNay as Olaf in Disney's Frozen, Ballinrobe Musical Society. Cormac Malone as Frank in Curtains, Clean Musical and Dramatic Society. and Simon Piper as Man in Chair in the Drowsy Chaperone Rush Musical Society. And now for Best Comedienne in the Sullivan section. Emma Jean Cook as Regina in Rock of Ages, Dunboyne Musical Society. Kate Headon as Dolores in Sister Act, Baldoyle Musical Society. Julie Kinsella as Sister Mary Lazarus in Sister Act, St Michael's Theatre Musical Society, New Ross. Nicole Scott as Mrs Gloop in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Claire Morris Musical Society. And Emily E. Kelly as Fiona in Shrek the Musical, Ballinasloe Musical Society. And now for Best Comedienne in the Gilbert section. Mary Gamble as Evangeline Harcourt in Anything Goes, Coolmine Musical Society. Jennifer Maguire Norient as Felicia Gabriel in Witches of Eastwick, Malahide Musical and Dramatic Society. Jay Oregon as Felicia Gabriel in Witches of Eastwick, Athlone Musical Society. Jenny Seary as Paulette in Legally Blonde for Trim Musical Society. And Meg White as Adelaide in Guys and Dolls, Dunleary Musical and Dramatic Society. I'll now hand over to Clodagh for the rest of the nominations.
Good evening, everyone. The nominees for Best Actor in a Supporting Role in the Sullivan section are Paul Brown as Action in West Side Story, Ross Gray Musical Society. Owen Cantillon Mann as Joe Emmett in Michael Collins, a musical drama, Limerick Musical Society. Brian Henry as Nick in Come From Away, Shannon Musical Society. Timmy Maloney as Eddie in Sister Act, St Michael's Theatre Musical Society, New Ross. And Adam Skeffington as Riff in West Side Story, Ross Gray Musical Society. The nominees for Best Actor in a Supporting Role in the Gilbert section: Ronan P. Byrne as Dom Claude Frollo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Gorey Musical Society. Adam Carr as Herod in Jesus Christ Superstar, Nine Art Musical Society, Clare Galway. Tony Carty as Pontius Pilate in Jesus Christ Superstar, Wexford Light Opera Society. Owen Sheedy as Sancho Panza in Mana La Mancha, Carrigan Shore Musical Society. Seamus Sullivan as Clyde Gabriel in The Witches of Eastwick, Malahide Musical and Dramatic Society. The nominees for Best Actress in a Supporting Role in the Sullivan section: Teresa Buckley as Mother Superior in Sister Act, St Michael's Theatre Musical Society. Mary Dempsey as Mrs Bucket in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Clare Morris Musical Society. Zoe Gibson as Sue Snell in Carrie the Musical, UCC Musical Theatre Society. Caroline McGee as Ruth in Calendar Girls, Greasepaint Productions, Buncrana. And Liz Steers as Anita in West Side Story, Newbridge Musical Theatre. The nominees for Best Actress in a Supporting Role in the Gilbert section: Amanda Cunningham as Khashoggi in We Will Rock You, Tullamore Musical Society. Janet Devlin as Miss Gulch, Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz, St Mel's Musical Society, Longford. Gemma Galvin as Brooke in Legally Blonde, Ahada Centre Theatre Group. And Jenny McCabe as Heidi Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen, North East Musical and Dramatic Society. Aideen O'Connor as Oz in We Will Rock You, Mitchelstown Musical Society. The nominees for Best Actor in the Sullivan section: Paul Finn as Tevier in Fiddler on the Roof, Youghal Musical Society. Daniel Furlong as Storyteller Will in The Clockmaker's Daughter, Avonmore Musical Society. James McGinn as Henry Higgins in My Fair Lady, Dundalk Musical Society. Jonathan Newman as Benjamin Stone in Follies, Galway University Musical Society. And Jake Wybrow as Orpheus in Hadestown, Teen Edition, Bellevue Academy, Clonmel. And the nominees for Best Actor in the Gilbert section: Niall Burke as Don Quixote in Mana La Mancha, Carrigan Shore Musical Society. Conor McNeilis as Mark in Rent, Muse Productions, Shannon. Gavin Maloney as Jekyll and Hyde in Jekyll and Hyde, Teachers Musical Society, Dublin. Rory Nicholl as Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar, On Tract, Dublin. And Mark O'Gorman as Quasimodo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Thurles Musical Society. The nominees for Best Actress in the Sullivan section: Anya Kinch as Constance in The Clockmaker's Daughter, Avonmore Musical Society. Nicole Lamb as Sherry in Rock of Ages, Dunboyne Musical Society. Serena Salmon as Morticia in the Addams Family HXD Musical Society. Kate Timothy as Sally in Follies, Galway University Musical Society. And Sophia Tinay as Margaret in Carrie the Musical, UCC Musical Theatre Society. The nominees for Best Actress in the Gilbert section: Lorna Dennehy as Anna in Disney's Frozen, Ballinrobe Musical Society. Aoife Daigan as Scaramouche in We Will Rock You, Tullamore Musical Society. Aideen Fox as Judy in 9 to 5, Ulster Operatic Company, Belfast. Lorraine Jackson as Reno Sweeney in Anything Goes, St Agnes Choral Society, Belfast. And Dana Quinlan as Wendla Burgum in Spring Awakening, Maynooth University Musical Society. I will now hand you over to Seamus.
Good evening, everybody. And here we are with some more nominations. And we are going to start with the Best Male Singer in the Sullivan section. And the nominees are Nathan Dalton as Hayes in Hagetown, the Teen Edition with Bellevue Academy, Clonmel. Aidan Halfpenny as Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar, Lisnagarvey Operatic and Dramatic Society. Christopher MacDonald as SpongeBob SquarePants in SpongeBob the Musical, Kilmacud Musical Society. Chris McLaughlin as Galileo in We Will Rock You, Castlebar Musical and Dramatic Society. And Gavin Maloney as Tony in West Side Story with Newbridge Musical Society. On now to the Gilbert section. And the nominees are Aidan Byrne as Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar, Wexford Light Opera Society. Jamie Callanan as Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar, Nine Arch Musical Society, Clare, Galway. Nathan Canning as Roger in Rent, Muse Productions, Shannon. Emmett Donlan as Will Riley in The Clockmaker's Daughter, St Mary's Choral Society, Clonmel. And Doran as Anatolia Servievsky in Chess, Enniscorthy Musical Society. On to the Best Female Singer in the Sullivan section. Kelly Brown as Killer Queen in We Will Rock You, Fort William Musical Society. Quiva Halligan as Scaramouche in We Will Rock You, Castlebar Musical and Dramatic Society. Ava McNally as Maria in West Side Story, Ross Gray Musical Society. Nicola Smith as Sister Mary Roberts in Sister Act, Baldial Musical Society. And Hannah Wright as Dragon in Shrek the Musical, Ballinasloe Musical Society. And Best Female Singer in the Gilbert section, Jacqueline Bruton as Lucy in Jekyll and Hyde, Teachers Musical Society. Niamh Penston as Miss Sherman in Fame the Musical, Leixlip Musical and Variety Group. Liz Steers as Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar, The Odd Theatre Company, Newbridge. And Gráinne Ilig as Carmen Bernstein in Curtains, Clane Musical and Dramatic Society. Michaela White as Florence Vassy in Chess, Enniscorthy Musical Society. And on to the Best Choral Singing in the Sullivan section. Avonmore Musical Society, The Clockmaker's Daughter. Castlebar Musical and Dramatic Society, We Will Rock You. St Michael's Theatre Musical Society, Sister Act. Shannon Musical Society, Come From Away. Song, Dundalk, We Will Rock You. And in the Gilbert section, Gorey Musical Society, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Malahide Musical and Dramatic Society, The Witches of Eastwick. St Mary's Choral Society, Clonmel, The Clockmaker's Daughter. The Odd Theatre Company, Newbridge, Jesus Christ Superstar. Tralee Musical Society, The Prince of Egypt. And now, the best ensemble in the Sullivan section. Baldoyle Musical Society, Sister Act. Ballinasloe Musical Society, Shrek the Musical. Castlebar Musical and Dramatic Society, We Will Rock You. Liston-Garvey Operatic and Dramatic Society, Jesus Christ Superstar. And Shannon Musical Society, Come From Away. And the best ensemble in the Gilbert section is Entract Dublin, Jesus Christ Superstar, Leixlip Musical and Variety Group, Fame the Musical, Malahide Musical and Dramatic Society, The Witches of Eastwick, Muse Productions Shannon, Rent, the Sicilian Musical Society, We Will Rock You. And now it's time for me to hand over to Kate.
Thanks, Seamus. Delighted to be here and on with the nominations. Best moment of theatre in the Sullivan section. Avonmore Musical Society, The Clockmaker's Daughter, for Raise a Glass, for its warmth, charm and beautifully judged storytelling, creating a memorable and uplifting spectacle that captured the heart of the story. Bellevue Academy Clonmel, for Hadestown Teen Edition, for Chant, for its atmospheric intensity, disciplined ensemble and creating a powerful moment of tension. Kilmacud Musical Society for SpongeBob the Musical, for Chop to the Top, for its infectious energy, wonderful physicality and excellent technical execution. Song Dundalk for We Will Rock You, for No One But You, Only the Good Die Young, for its excellent vocal delivery and seamless integration of exceptional lighting and visual effects, creating a deeply moving and memorable piece of theatre. UCC Musical Theatre Society for Carrie the Musical, for In, for its chilling impact, precise ensemble focus and dramatic use of movement and staging. Best moment of theatre, Gilbert. Malahide Musical Society, The Witches of Eastwick, the realisation of true friendship on stage and the beautifully blended vocals of the three witches. Oyster Lane Theatre Group Wexford for The Wizard of Oz, the visual spectacle and excellent use of props and flying skills to create the tornado. St Agnes Choral Society Belfast for Anything Goes, the perfectly timed and beautifully synced tapping in the titler number. St Mary's Choral Society Clonmel for The Clockmaker's Daughter, the clever use of fairy lights and carefully chosen cue points to create a special place and moment. And the Sicilian Musical Society Limerick for We Will Rock You, the supremely clean execution of the beautifully in-sync choreography of Killer Queen and Fat Bottomed Girls. Best choreographer in the Sullivan section. Stephanie Brown for West Side Story, Roscrea Musical Society. Therese Dunn and Tara Gill, We Will Rock You Song, Dundalk. Michael Healy for Carrie the Musical for UCC Musical Theatre Society. Daniel Maguire for My Fair Lady for Dundalk Musical Society. And Stephen O'Ryan from Come From Away, Shannon Musical Society. Best choreographer in the Gilbert section. Karen McCourt, The Witches of Eastwick, Malahide Musical Society. Barbara Meany, We Will Rock You, the Sicilian Musical Society Limerick. Anne-Marie Morgan for Anything Goes, St Agnes Choral Society Belfast. Grace Stravinsky for Spring Awakening from Trinity Musical Theatre Society. And Claire Tighe and Jen Dawson for Fame the Musical, Leixlip Musical and Variety Group. Best Musical Director in the Sullivan section. Patrick Dunn, We Will Rock You Song, Dundalk. Niall Kelly for Hadestown Teen Edition, Bellevue Academy, Clonmel. Conor McCarthy for The Clockmaker's Daughter, Avonmore Musical Society. Dave McGarren for West Side Story, Newbridge Musical Theatre. And Michael Young for SpongeBob the Musical, Midas, Limerick. Best Musical Director in the Gilbert section. Patrick Clancy, The Wizard of Oz, Oyster Lane Theatre Group, Wexford. David Hayes, Jesus Christ Superstar, Wexford Light Opera Society. Roisin Heenan, Jesus Christ Superstar, Entract Dublin. Conor McCarthy, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Gory Musical Society, and Dave McGowan for The Witches of Eastwick for Malahide Musical and Dramatic Society. Best Director in the Sullivan section. Stephanie Brown, West Side Story, Ross Cray Musical Society. Tony Finnegan, My Fair Lady, Dundalk Musical Society. Michael Anthony Green, Come From Away, Shannon Musical Society. Keith Hanley, Follies, Galway University Musical Society. And Donna Ruin for We Will Rock You, Castlebar Musical and Dramatic Society. Best Director in the Gilbert section. Martin McNeilis, Rent, Muse Productions, Shannon. Cian O'Dowd, Jesus Christ Superstar, Odd Theatre Company, Newbridge. Wilfie Piper, The Drowsy Chaperone, Rush Musical Society. E.J. Riley for Jekyll and Hyde with Teachers Musical Society. And Claire Tighe for Fame the Musical, Leakslip Musical and Variety Group. That's it from me. Time to hand over to Frank.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And we're on to the last set of nominations this evening. And I can feel the tension rising right across the country. And first of all, we have the Spirit of Ames nominations in the Sullivan section. And they are as follows. For their vision, determination, and dedication in successfully reviving the Society after an absence of nearly 40 years, Sheena Duffy, Megan Monaruela, and their team in Drogheda Musical Society and their production of The Addams Family. For their professionalism, adaptability, and composure in navigating significant last-minute cast changes due to illness, we have Midas Limerick with SpongeBob the Musical. For embodying the true spirit of community theatre through her extraordinary generosity of time, talent, and unwavering commitment to her society, Susan Brown of Newcastle West Musical Society with My Fair Lady. Ciara Jennings and Kathleen McAteer for their tireless creativity and craftsmanship in designing and creating costumes from scratch for Shrek the Musical with Newry Musical Society. The cast and crew of Tullyvin Musical Society for their resilience, unity, and unwavering support for one another during a show week marked by sadness and loss, with their production of Made in Dagenham. And the Spirit of Ames nominations in the Gilbert section. For stepping into the role of choreographer with only a few weeks to showtime and still producing excellent work, Declan Gardner with Galway Musical Society and their production of Pippin. For overcoming the very late delivery of costumes for their production Kinky Boots the Musical, Londonderry Musical Society. For excellent makeup effects of the Lion, Tin Man and Scarecrow, and the extremely swift and effective removal of said makeup to return them to Hunk, Steek and Hickory, for their production of The Wizard of Oz, Newcastle Lees Musical Society. St Mary's Choral Society Clonmel for their production of The Clockmaker's Daughter, for powering ahead with their show despite not knowing if they had a venue, and overcoming the venue issues to still mount a successful production. And last, but certainly not least, for the stellar work of the wardrobe team on Elle's Quick Changes for their production of Legally Blonde, Trim Musical Society. And we're now on to our Best Overall Show nominations in the Sullivan section. And they are as follows. Avonmore Musical Society for The Clockmaker's Daughter. Bellevue Academy Clonmel for Hadestown Teen Edition. Castlebar Musical and Dramatic Society, We Will Rock You. Roscrea Musical Society for their production of West Side Story. And Come From Away with Shannon Musical Society. And the Best Overall Show nominations in the Gilbert section. For their production of Fame, the musical, Leakslip Musical and Variety Group. Muse Productions Shannon for Rent. Rush Musical Society Dublin for The Drowsy Chaperone. Jekyll and Hyde with Teachers Musical Society. And the Odd Theatre Company Newbridge with Jesus Christ Superstar. And thanks to all our nominees, and we wish you continued success and see you all in Killarney. And for those who won't be joining us in Killarney, we will be live streaming this year again with great events at www.gr8events.ie. And see you then. Thank you.